Hello, my name is Dennis Johnson, and I'm going to perform the All West Tennessee 2020-2021 snare drum audition for 9th and 10th grade. We're going to set the metronome at 96, and we're going to play this. So follow along. Here we go. Okay, so that's the etude for 9th and 10th grade, and I will explain some things in another video. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Dennis Johnson again, and I am here to explain some of the finer points of the All West 2020-2021 snare drum audition etude for 9th and 10th grade. Hopefully you've already watched the video of me performing the exercise or the etude, and I'm going to explain some things, primarily with sticking and maybe some playing zones, just some basics. First of all, we want to use the natural sticking system, which basically states that you play with a right on the downbeat, followed by a left on the upbeat. Not always, but for the most part. There are a couple of things, and you'll have to look at your music, because the music's not up here on the video. So look at your music, look at the measure numbers, so that you can refer and look back to those. Basically, the first time that there's an issue, potential issue, is in measure 3. The last 3 notes are 16th notes, which were preceded by a 16th rest. And we want to play those 3 notes with a left, right, left, which puts the roll in measure 4 on the right hand. So we're going to go like that. So the entire measure 3 will be, all right, left, right, left on the last 3 notes of measure 3. Okay. Second point, to preserve consistency of sound, I would play the last 3 notes in measure 5 with the left hand. So we've got like that. So all of measure 5, all right, instead of going left, right, left, or right, left, right, play all the notes with the left hand so they all sound the same, because that's our ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is to have sound consistency. We're not playing fancy stickings because this is not marching band. This is a concert band piece. So we want to make sure all the notes that are unaccented or accented sound the same. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we get to measure 6, we'll go right, left, followed by right, left, so that our accents start with the right. So all of measure 6 will be starting with the right, like so. Another point, measure 7, we've got sextuplets. All right, if you're right-handed, you're going to want to start with the left hand so that we end on the right with an accent. Okay, instead of starting with the right and ending on the left, which is, it would be okay to do that, but if you're right-handed, it would probably sound better if you start at the edge, move to the center, starting with the left hand. Okay, you can start with the right. But if you're right-handed, most of you are going to lean on your right hand, start with the left so that you end on the right with that accent. All right, so that's measure 7. Measure 10 can be tricky. I would go right, right, 3 lefts with the triplets, and then natural sticking throughout for the rest of the measure. So all of measure 10 would be right, right, left, left on the triplet, and then 4/16 right, left, and then sextuplets right, left, left, right. So the entire measure, while at the same time going from the middle zone all the way to the edge. Next, let's see. I will play the last two notes of measure 11 with the left hand, so that measure 12 starts the sextuplets with the right. Okay? And hopefully you're following along on your music. If you don't have the music, this will mean nothing to you, so look at your music as I'm explaining this, please. Measure 12, we will play right, left, left, and then two left, lefts. Because these, once again, are like measure 3, with the 16ths being preceded by a 16th rest. Alright, next measure is not a problem. Everything's natural sticking. We get to 14 and we're going to go right, left, right. Normally that's the way that rhythm is played, right, left, right. You can go right, left if you want, but normally we're going to play it like we would in marching season when we play like 16th note timing exercises. Right, left, left. So go ahead and play that right, left, right, and then 4 lefts. Alright, sextuplets with right. Alright, we get to measure 16 and we have 3 flams in a row, which could be alternated. But the third one comes right before a diddle pattern, which you would play in like diddle grids, like in marching band, like. So we're going to go. All right, so you want to put a little space between the flam and the diddle. So don't go. Go. Put a little space there for clarity of articulation. Then we have rhythmic-cues. We don't see rhythmic-cues a lot nowadays, but these are rhythmic-cues in measure 17. So we're going to go right and play the diddles with the left, or the roughs or drags with the left. But the second one, the roughs are going to be with the right. Okay, so you might have to practice your rhythmic-cues. Okay. After that, single sticking, natural, and then basically 19 and 20, just basically. And make sure you interpret those dotted 16ths. Alright, don't play them. Make sure they're nice and articulate. Okay, so hopefully some of the sticking considerations that I've outlined here will help you in your preparation for trying out for All West. Everyone has their own ideas about stickings. My philosophy is natural sticking system, which makes sense to me. That was the way I was taught, and that's the way I teach my students, natural sticking. There are some exceptions to that, and there's a couple of spots in here that applies to, but just make sure that you're playing everything with a good consistent quality of sound and a good consistency of sticking patterns. Make sure you play the same rhythms the same way every time so that it sounds the same way every time you play it. Okay? Alright, so hopefully that helps you, and another part of this video will focus on 7 basics of consistency of sound. Okay? So, best of luck on your audition. Keep on drumming. Hello, this is Dennis Johnson again, and I'm going to outline 7 consistency of sound points that I teach my students and that you should think about when you're performing on a snare drum or other percussion instrument. Alright, the first consideration for consistency of sound is to play with the beads of the sticks as close together as possible. Alright? So what we want to do is when you're playing on a snare drum, or I'm playing on a practice pad, make sure that the beads are together, like I said, as close together without hitting. Now, here's what it's going to sound like if you don't do this. If you got one stick in the center, then you got one stick way over here on the edge, and you start playing, you're going to get two different distinct sounds. You can even hear that on the pad. And when you start to roll, it's just awful. It's going to sound. All right? So play with the beads of the sticks as close together as possible. All right? I don't know if you can see this on this practice pad. We have different playing zones, and there's actually a place for you to put the beads of your sticks together. That's a good practice tool. So, all right? So make sure that when you play, that the beads of the sticks are as close together as possible, so we don't get one sound with one hand and another sound with another. All right. Point 2, relax and play with a balanced sound from hand to hand with no stray accents. I hear a lot of young players that will come in, you're going to be tense possibly anyway because you're performing for someone and you're trying out. This year not so much because it's virtual, but depends on who's in the room, I guess. Relax when you play. Not so much that you drop your sticks, but relax, and your consistency of sound will sound better. Your quality of sound will sound better. So, no stray accents. When you're playing 16th notes, for example, don't necessarily go. A lot of young players do that. When there are 16ths and they'll be played at one height and there are no accents written, just basically play. All right, balance your right hand and your left hand. Okay, don't distort the rhythms. All right, there are a lot of those dotted 16th figures in the 9th and 10th grade etude. I think there's one in the 11th and 12th grade. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at that. But you're going to have this type of figure. All right, so we don't want to have that out balanced like, or just. All right, so point 2 is to balance the hands right to left. Point 3 in general, don't squeeze your sticks so tightly when you play. All right, relax. Returning to point number 2, just relax. Let the sticks resonate. Don't choke off the natural sound of the drum. There's a big difference in a performer who is holding their sticks very tightly. I call it the death grip. And you play on a drum as opposed to someone who is relaxed and is letting the natural tonality of the sticks resonate, and as a result the drum resonates. So all right, so relax when you play. A lot of young players don't do that. They're tight, and when they start to roll, that doesn't work. So you've got to relax. Use your fulcrum. Keep your fulcrum nice and firm, but keep these fingers relaxed. All right, not to the point where they're doing this. Okay. Keep them around because you want all the strokes to sound the same. But let that help your control, all right? But not to the point where you're playing tensely. All right, so that was point number 3. Point number 3 is to relax when you play. Point 4, please write your stickings in on your music so that when you're practicing at home or at school or wherever, every time you play the solo, you're going to play it with the same stickings. Don't leave that to chance. Because I can tell you from experience, if you don't write it in, when you get tense and you're playing for a video camera, or if you're playing for a person in person at an audition, your nerves are going to get the best of you and you're going to start playing stickings that you never played before. So, write the stickings in and make sure that they make sense. All right. Number 5, use the playing zones of your drum to help with your dynamics. Okay, you've got the edge. Okay. You've got halfway between, basically, between the edge and the center, and then you've got the center. So use those playing zones to help you with your dynamics, all right? Pianos and mezzo pianos will be played basically at the edge, all right? And most of you know that. If you're trying out for All West, you probably already know that, but this is just a review. When you're playing forte, you're going to play right in the center, possibly off-center, depends on what type of drum you're playing on and how the snares are set up. Okay, and then halfway in between, mezzo, forte, and so forth. okay? And this ties into point number 6. Please tune your drum. Tune your drum and make sure that your snares are responding when you play at a piano level. I've judged many contests over the years where a drummer will come in and the drum looks great. They've got it cranked up and it sounds really nice when they're playing at a forte level. But when they play at the piano level, at the edge, there's no snare response. So you've got to tune that snare drum so that the snares are actually responding when you're playing at the edge, but at the same time sounds nice and tight in the center. And there's a fine line between that. So you have to use your ears, get your band director to help you, or your percussion instructor, or your private teacher, or whatever, to listen to that and make sure that it's tuned that way, so that when you're playing piano, it doesn't sound like a tenor drum. Okay, if that makes sense. So you want to make sure that the snares are responding when you're playing at the level of piano, or even softer at the edge, but also sounds good right in the center. Okay, right, that thick sound in the center that you want. All right. And I guess the last point for this, because we can go on and on with this, but dynamics are all relative. So you've got to look at the overall dynamic scheme of the piece that you're playing and set your opening dynamic level that will accommodate the overall highs and lows of the piece. So for example, the 9th and 10th grade audition piece starts at mezzo piano. Well, if your mezzo piano is this, well, your forte is going to have to be way up here to make a difference between mezzo piano and forte, if that makes sense. So I always tell students to overemphasize the dynamics. So let's say mezzo piano. Go ahead and play it nice and soft, so you'll have some place to grow. All right, because in that first measure, we're going from mezzo piano to mezzo forte. But you don't want to overdo that. You don't want to go. All right, because later on you're going to be playing forte, and your forte would have to be way up here, and that's not good. So, so basically, just look at the overall dynamic scheme and set the opening. The opening dynamics sets the tone for the dynamic scheme of your entire piece. Okay, musicality is very important, because most people that are going to go out, I won't say most, but most maybe, hopefully, will be able to play the notes. Okay, everybody can play the notes when you get to this level. It's the percussionists or the musicians who come in and play with musicality. All right, they're doing all these points here and more. They will get the judge's attention. Okay, do something that's going to set yourself apart from the crowd, and mostly it's going to be playing with lots of musicianship, lots of musicality. All right. So hopefully these 7 points, this little discussion we've had, will help you in your preparation for All West or All State or college auditions or whatever. All right. These are just basic things that we tell students to observe when they are trying to get a good consistency of sound. So best of luck on your audition, and keep on drumming.